And then she's like, okay, now you have to turn over so I can get your shoulders. And I said, I have a question. Do you have a mask? Yeah, I guess I have one in my car. And I was like, are you gonna get it? No. It was so frustrating for me. So then I did this, and I was more tense after the massage than I was going in, which and I take full responsibility. I'm not blaming, I'm taking responsibility for my own actions. I could have left. So I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but I do think that was like not cool, because the masseuse, yes, I'm a cashier, like they could be 6 feet away from me, or I reach out and give them my thing. They have the plexiglass and everything, but the massage therapist was like breathing in my face. And that was really maddening for me. I was really kind of frustrated. So I called my in-laws when I came home, and I was like crying. I'm so sorry, Carol, I can't go with you to help you move, because so just with my personal, so anyway, my husband is in California right now because I was uninvited to go on this trip, because I chose to go to a place that didn't choose to wear a mask. So yes, and I contacted the state about it, and I said, hey, state health department, there was this place that didn't, she was breathing on my face. Is it within their right? And she said, yes. I'm sorry, I have dogs, they're gonna bark, hang on. But that's my story. I think it's kind of I wish there was a little more action. That's my own personal opinion, but I know that other people have their motives. I'm gonna go answer the door, so you can go ahead and continue that conversation.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
Emily, did you want to say?
I have lots of thoughts about this, just because I think there's so much to learn from all of this, I think. So like, first of all, none of this is going to just be automatic for anybody, oh yeah, I remember my mask, or oh no, I don't need the mask because this person is fine with it. Customers are very different from one another. Comfort level is very different. Risk level is very different. And it's really hard, I think, as a community to feel like we are equally accommodating everybody. We like accommodating people. And it's really great to be able to think of ourselves as being able to perfectly accommodate everybody. We're going to be perfectly comfortable in this situation no matter what. Or we're going to be able to make sure that your experience here is seamless and perfect. And then getting negative feedback is really hard, right? Oh, you weren't comfortable? Oh, that's on you. You decided. You also notice Kate's comment was like, well, I should have left. Yeah, that's definitely a choice that every customer has to leave if that's how they feel. Or, if I'm a customer, I'm just going to play devil's advocate for a minute too. If I'm a customer and there's a store that says you must wear a mask and you can't come in here without wearing a mask, I have a choice again as a customer to say, well, I don't think masks are necessary because I'm otherwise making sure I'm washing my hands. I take care of myself. I'm being responsible. And so I might think, well, why are they forcing me to wear a mask? When I don't think that that's something that I need to do. I have a choice again as a customer to decide that. And so it's difficult for us to see companies and businesses as representative of us. Like, these are individual business owners who do different business things and have a different way of approaching things. And as a government has to be able to find a way to support those businesses in spite of differences. And I think that when I looked at this particular bill, going back to the question about the bill that would make them exempt, I looked at that law, and it is very similar to the fact that you can't sue someone for contracting the flu. If you get sick from someone's establishment, there's not really any way that a company can make sure that you do not get certain diseases, just because of how difficult it would be to guarantee that you would never get sick. And so I think that this particular law was written because people are aware that with the nervousness we all feel and the uncertainty, they didn't want businesses to be an easy target to those who are upset. Or if there is a consequence where someone does get sick and even dies, it could ruin their business to be liable to that kind of consequence. And then I liked what Kate was saying, though, if we take that ownership back on us as people, and contact a company and say, do you know what? I would love it if people had the choice to have masked service, or people had the choice to have no mask service, and just encourage businesses to recognize the variety of customers that they have to serve. And then again, at the government side, government should still support those businesses and make sure that they have the choices to reflect their customers' needs and wants.
That's a great point. Yeah. All right. So another place where there's sort of mixed success has been in as the government has reopened sectors of the economy that we shut down. There were some criteria, and there have been lots of different ways of determining, is it safe to open various parts of the economy. But there are about 5 ways of measuring whether it was safe to reopen. And some of these Utah met, and some of them Utah did not. And actually, did you know there are no states where all of these criteria have been met, which is interesting. So one of them is the number of tests per capita. So, and this is one that Utah met. Utah's done really well on providing tests. So, the criteria is 150 tests per 100,000 people available each day, and Utah's met that. So well done, Utah. That was a big hurdle, and we met it. ICU capacity. So in order to be prepared for an increase in severe hospitalizations, a state should have about 40% of its ICU capacity available to meet that need, that increased need. And Utah's been kind of hovering near that level for a while. So that's not bad, not bad. The states to reopen were encouraged to have a flat rate of cases per day for 2 weeks. Now, no state has had a flat level of cases for 2 weeks. And for a while in April, we had many days where cases were flat, which was great. So I think we had about 10 days where the numbers were pretty level and flat. So we were close, but we did not technically meet that criteria. And the last criteria is overall positive tests. Out of all the tests that are given each day, the guidance is to have 5% or less positive to be able to reopen the economy. And for a long time, actually, Utah did have like 5%, 4% around there. And so, and that was a really good sign. Recently, though, we've had a lot more than that. Sometimes our numbers are more like 10%, 13%. Some states have had 20% per day that have been positive. So the delicate balance of the economy versus public health is really the crux of this whole issue. And so this is I don't want to armchair quarterback this too much, because this is a very difficult position to be in. But we met some of the criteria for reopening, but we did not meet all of them. So do you have thoughts about meeting those criteria and moving forward? Were we okay to move forward, or what did we do well?
I have a question. Do you think all Utahns are aware of what they should do, or how they find out what they need to do if they feel they're symptomatic?
That's a good question.
Has the education been communicated? Has it been communicated effectively? What do I do if I feel like I have these things? What resources are available to me? Because we talked a little bit about the tech companies and doing the Test Utah, but I heard a lot of people say, don't go that direction. Contact your healthcare provider. I don't know. Are people aware of what they need to do? If they think they have it.
One problem is that the CDC just added new symptoms as well. You know, our knowledge of this disease is so incomplete that we and people's presentation of symptoms is so different. Digestive symptoms, fever, no fever, runny nose, no runny nose, sore throat, headache, It's just in children, the COVID toes. It is really, and then no symptoms at all. It's
COVID toes? You need to tell me about COVID toes. I have no idea what that is.
oh goodness. Okay, COVID toes. COVID toes mostly seem to appear in children, and it's like purplish toes, because a lot of this disease attacks the circulatory system, and so children especially will get like purplish toes in the little tiny capillaries in their toes, and that is a sign of potential infection.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're learning new stuff every day.
Oh, constantly. It's yeah, it's really it's so complicated. Yes. That's another question, is that I think that the state has really tried. I've seen public service announcements made in various different languages for the different communities, and especially many of our multicultural communities have been hit especially hard. Our Latino community, Pacific Islander communities. So they've had influencers from those communities producing public service announcements about, how to stay safe, where to get tested, things like that. But it's really hard to get this information out to people. And there has been like disinformation, and some of it's been intentional as well, from various nefarious sources, whether it's Russia, China, who knows who, right?
Best Friend's YouTube channel.
Right. Yes, lots of lots of conspiracy theories that,
Yeah.
who knows, some of them have been proven false and some of them are just up in the air still. Yeah. And when you think about the risk dial of the different colors of risk, this has also been a message that's been kind of confusing to me. Whether, red, what does red mean? Does that mean red is a grave danger to me if I go out in my community? Or does it mean red, the economic situation is very severe? And so I've seen different confusing messages about, what does green mean? Does green mean I can just go and do whatever I did last summer with no changes at all because my risk is very low? Or does green mean our businesses are open, our public parks and pools and everything, and everything is a go economically? And I've heard both that the dial represents economic activity, and I've heard that it represents what your behavior should be. So
well, and if you do look at the printed guidance, it has actually information for all of that. So if we're at green and you're a business, here's what you should be doing. If we're at red and you are a business, this is what you should be doing. And the same, if I'm a person, green, yellow, orange, red, what should I be doing? And so they do try to have answers for everybody based on the color. And I think that they're trying to make it so that it's at least some way that people can wrap their head around what kind of behaviors are expected, what kinds of things should we be doing or not doing. But it is very, very difficult to create a standardized behavior around something that's incredibly new and this is novel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Precisely, yes. And everyone's risk is different because of their own personal characteristics, age, health, what type of work you do, all of these things are just it's so very individual. Okay, we had a couple of questions come through. One of our questions, we can address these. One of our questions is kind of related to economic impacts. So what is the difference if many people in Utah or the country get a cold, get diabetes, have asthma, have complications from rheumatoid arthritis, or have an allergic reaction to bees? Is the economy going to stop? Are people going to be laid off of work? Why is the state suddenly responsible for individual health and feel like they have to stop the spread of this one germ and control our environment so tenaciously?
So there's a lot to unpack into this question, right? So the first thing I think it says, we do face a lot already as people. We deal with health problems. We deal with, things that regularly will impact our lives. And sometimes we expect the government to step in and make something better. And sometimes we say, well, this is a struggle that I personally have to deal with and I have to deal with it.